what's up, you guys? My name is Sora, and welcome back to LEGO Arts. But not just any episode of LEGO Arts. Welcome, finally, to the 50th special! Yes, thank you! Woo! Woo, 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 woo! Yeah! I've really been looking forward to this showcase for a while now, and I apologize that I had to delay it a few times. It's completely my fault on my end, because some of the parts I pretty much ordered way later on in the showcase when I should have ordered them earlier, but they finally arrived a few days ago, and I finally finished customizing everything, so here we are now. So anyways, in the last episode, we did showcase a YouTuber special featuring Markiplier, so now this one, we are finally here with LEGO Kingdom Hearts 3, also known as LEGO Kingdom Hearts Wave 6. So last time we did one of these waves, it was Hooded Roxas, and it was the first time ever I sculpted the keyblades out of molding clay instead of like cardboard, and we repeated the same process over here. And I mentioned that I wasn't going to do this showcase until after I finished Kingdom Hearts 3, and now that I'm done with it, it gave me a chance to like go back, review over some of the characters, and get a solid idea as to who I wanted to make. Sorry. So here we are now. So anyways, as you can see, we got Sora, Riku, Kairi, Roxas, Naminé, Xion, Lee, and for the first time ever, Mickey, Donald, and Goofy. I never customized the Disney trio before, and this showcase gave me the opportunity to do that. So I finally decided, you know what? Since I haven't done these before, let's go ahead and do them. And I didn't recustomize like the Birth by Sleep trio because there was really no reason for me to do that, and that since I already had them in their regular outfits, and they didn't get anything new in KH3 aside from like keyblades, aside from like Aqua getting Ericus's keyblade and everything. So aside from that, there was not a huge reason for me to recustomize them. I might go back and make a couple of changes, but for now everything is all right. And my main focus was to fix a few of these figures, and I finally got the opportunity to do that. So, as I consider the whole drill, we're going to take these minifigures one at a time, do a review on them, explain my process, why I went with this route, and then go from there. So, without further ado, let's get the pedestal out and get the showcase on the road! Right, so first up on our list is, of course, Sora, one of the first minifigures that I got done beforehand. I originally started on his decals like last year, around like December, or maybe it was November, somewhere around there, and getting his outfits detailing was pretty hard. I had to look at a lot of pictures of like not just his in-game pictures, but also like cosplay outfit designs. So getting the idea for the figure was a little bit tricky, but in the end I managed to get it right. So first, what I did, I tested out this new technique that I wanted to give it a shot, and it actually came out pretty well. So what I first did was I printed off the decals and everything. I then went back, took like some acrylic paint, and then I carefully did sort of like outlining to everything else. So the red's a lot more, like it stands out a lot more, so does the gold and a little bit of the gray as well. So I did that as like a new idea to like really make the decals stand out. His legs are completely hand painted. As you can see on the back, he's got like his hood piece that I just took some clay and glued it on there. He's also got his iconic crown necklace. Originally though, this was supposed to be, I originally had the idea of, like, taking the same torso piece that I did for my first Sora and, like, redrawing over it. But then I thought, like, nah, I don't want to do that. I want to start from scratch. So I did that. That instead. And you know what? I like that route better. It looks a lot more detailed. It looks a lot better. There's, like, some decal printing. I'm printing on his hands. You can't fully see it, but there's a belt buckle as to, like, where the yellow band is. And is to, like, really make the outfit pop and everything. I think one of the hardest things to have to do with the figure, and pretty much with all of them, was just, like, the pants length. Because when looking at his pants, I needed them, like, long enough to match up with the character, but to also, like, match up, and also, like, not too long, because I still wanted to show off, like, with his shoes, and also, like, where we could see his ankles. Because once I figured that out, the rest of it was pretty easy. As you can see now, this time he's wielding the Kingdom Key, and like one of the few keyblades that I ever made. So this one, it was kind of easy to do. What I did was I took a rod that was like a jousting kind of rod, on a rod. I'm not sure how to describe it, but I took that rod, I cut the handle off, and then I made, well, first I made sure that this was like long enough of like a regular minifigure sword, because I wanted the weapon to be just about the same length of it. I then went back, sculpted out the handle and then the teeth for the crown, and then for like the keyblade. It's not exactly like it on the game, but in my defense, that kind of detailing work, I'm still learning through like stuff like this. So I didn't fully match up of like, like the crown detailing on that one. And this time though, he's got a keychain. So I took a chain that originally belongs to Ghost Rider. I cut it in half, and then one of the ends, I glued on 2 pieces of clay. Glued this and this onto the blade, onto like the handle, and then painted the whole thing silver over to pop out of the keychain itself. And another pretty interesting piece is the hairpiece. It actually looks more like Sora's hairpiece. Admittedly, though, it looks a little bit too much like the KH2 style. But that's okay, because this time now, it really matches up to the character. Like, when I first made Sora, the original hairpiece I had for him, it was good as a starting point. But back then, it wasn't as spiked up as he is in the game. So I took this as an opportunity to, like, go back and redo it. And this is actually the original headpiece that I used for the first Sora. I still kept the other outfit. I'm still keeping the other outfit, but this one, I decided to, like, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, just keep the original head, and give him a new hairstyle. So, I actually like this a lot more than the first one, and I hope you guys like it too. I do, so I'm pretty proud of this minifigure, and I hope you guys are as well. Okay then, so, let's go on and head to our next minifigure. So next up on our list is Riku, and I gotta say, his outfit actually looks very, very cool. Like, when I first saw pictures of it, I thought, like, ooh, that looks nice. I didn't really put any detailing on the back, because there wasn't really anything else to put on there. I hand-painted his arms for, like, his sleeves and his gloves, because they were pretty simple to pull that off. I think one of the proudest things I'd have to say about him is the head. Oh, Lord. With the first Riku minifigure, I desperately wanted to redo the headpiece, because I had messed up with, like, this technique that I wanted to try out of, like, super gluing the decal on, then applying the hairpiece. After I did that, the head it pretty much looked like a melted clown. And to this day, the hairpiece is stuck on the head. Like, I cannot get it off no matter what I do. It is forever stuck on that. Which was kind of sad, because I almost wanted to use that hairpiece for, like redoing it for Riku, or maybe doing it for Kairi, but since I couldn't come off, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start from scratch. I'm gonna do things my way. So I gave him a brand new face, decal, and made his hairpiece out of clay, and this looks so much better. It's so much better. I'm much more satisfied with this Riku than the other version. It's a lot better. As you can see, he's also got, like, dark navy blue and navy blue pants, along with the flannel printing. I printed off the flannel designs, and that I used like the same software that I use to make my thumbnails. So I used that as like a way to get, like, the length correct. Same thing with the bottom of the pants. And unfortunately, though, there wasn't enough room for me to apply. There wasn't enough room to, like, fully match up to the character. So, like, his ankles aren't showing. But you know what? I'm okay with that. This minifigure came out pretty well, and I'm satisfied for that. I can't really bend him forward because I might damage, like, the flannel printing. But that's the price to pay when you want to make things more accurate to the game. And then his Keyblade. It was a little tricky of how to do that. I had to look at a few photos to, like, get the Keyblade down correctly. And similar to how when I made the swords for Sword Art Online, like Kirito's swords, this started out a lot bigger, and then I came in with my sanding tool, sand the hell out of this thing, and then once it was done, I barely recognized it. It was like, oh my god, that's amazing. And of course, the keychain is the same. This is the other end of the chain that I used that I used for Sora's Keyblade. But rather than putting in like a jousting rod in between, I just sculpted out the blade all as one. I then glued the handle piece in, made sure that it would stay on every time I wanted to remove the sword. So I put it on, put it off, and this actually came out very, very nicely. Very nicely. So I am much more satisfied with this Riku minifigure. That if you guys liked the previous one, that's cool. But if I was to choose between Riku minifigure, between like which minifigure version I like the best, this one takes the place. It's so much better, and I'm really satisfied with this one. So anyways, let's move on to our next minifigure. So next up on our list is Kairi, like with Sora and Riku, in her KH3 outfit. And this actually came out pretty well. I used the same template decal that I did for some of my other female minifigures. Just first did the detailing work, and then went back for the outlining and everything. And this minifigure actually came out pretty well. I'm pretty satisfied with it. I'm satisfied of how it turned out. It turned out pretty well. There is some detailing on the back, but because the hood is glued on there, we cannot see it, unfortunately. But that's okay. It's not too big of a deal. Like with Sora, this is the original headpiece that I used for the first Kairi minifigure. But with her hairpiece, I had to change it a few times. But with the other version of the hairpiece, it didn't look correct. So I wanted to try and see if I could, really make it more accurate to the character. And it's not exactly like it, but it's better than its previous versions. There's versions of it. She's also got like her Destiny's Embrace Keyblade. That I took a rod, made it the same length as like the Kingdom Key. I then went back and kind of made this more Lego-like. That I had a bunch of flower pieces that I wasn't using for anything else, and I pretty much like super glued them together and get her to like forge like the teeth. Some plants that I cut off, some string for like some of the wrapping, and then some string for the key charm, along with the Palpu fruit, like keychain of it. It's not exactly like it's on the video game, but in a way, this is kind of a version about like what the Keyblade would look like if it was more Lego-like. So I think it came out pretty good. But one of my favorite things about this minifigure is the fabrics. As you can see, like with Roxas, like with hooded Roxas, she's got like fabric detailing work. The skirt, when painting the skirts, it was a little bit tricky, because I saw it divided up into like 2 different prints. So it was the problem of figuring out like, okay, how long should the length go and how far should it go onto the back. Once I got that out of the way, it came out pretty well. And unlike my mistake that I made with Leafa, it's the fabrics are glued onto the waistline, not on the actual legs. I could have gone in and either done decal printing on the legs or painted up, but I really wanted to make the showcase unique. And since I'm testing more and more skills with fabrics, I decided, you know what? This is a good opportunity to do that. So let's do it. And I really like this. This came out, a lot better than I was expecting. So I'm pretty satisfied with this minifigure, and I hope you guys are too. So let's go ahead and move on to our next minifigure, which should be very, very quick. So next up on our list is Roxas in his KH2 outfit, which you're probably wondering, like, Cyber, you already reviewed this minifigure. Why are you back with this one? Well, I said that this would be very, very quick, and I meant that. So what I did instead was I actually went back and made a couple of changes, repainted everything. Like, his arms are a bit different. As you can see over here, that now I added in, like, more detailing to his checkered wristband, more paintwork on his ring fingers, his finger rings. So they came out pretty well, and you can kind of see it, but his legs are now completely hand-painted. And I was hoping that this would mean that now I could bend the legs, but I kind of can't, and I was pretty sad about that. But you know what? I actually like this more, because the detailing it matches more onto the character. His shoes are not entirely like it on the game, but in my defense, Lego feet are not designed to be fully detailed work like that. But that didn't stop me from, like, going back and making a couple of changes in general. There is some paintwork on, like, the back of the waistline, because I realized that I didn't do that last time. I probably could have come back in, like, and made, like, the red color, like, pop out a bit more, similar to how it's Sora's jacket. But at the same time, I didn't want to risk, like, damaging some of the printing on this minifigure. So, in a way, this was sort of not necessarily a huge customization process, but more of a refix. And I gave his hairpiece, like, a new bronze color and everything, so it came out pretty well. And this time, unlike with the last time I reviewed the Keyblades, the Keyblades actually got keychains. So, as you can see, I did a little detailing work on Oathkeeper's keychain, so now it looks more accurate to Kairi's Lucky Charm, and Oblivion's keychain. It's you can kind of see it's now with the crown. I basically cut I cut a bit of the chain off. I then sculpted out a crown and then glued it on here. So in a way, the Keyblades are now complete. They are now complete. Admittedly, though, I was kind of bummed that Roxas didn't get, like, a new outfit for KH3. Right? I was kind of hoping that he'd get, like, a new jacket or something. But, you know what? That's okay. It's okay. They brought back his dual-wielding abilities, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. And I did like it in the end of the game, where he was back to wearing this attire and not the organization coat. Which, speaking of which, if you want to see me do, like, a full explanation of the Keyblades, and of Roxas in his organization coat, you can check it out in my LEGO Arts playlist on episode 45, where there I will explain the full detailing work of the Keyblades and of Roxas in his hooded outfit. Okay then, let's move on to another minifigure that should go by very, very quickly. So next up on our list is Naminé in a new version of her original outfits. Admittedly, from the game, I was hoping that she would get, like, more screen time and everything, but I did like it how, in the end, she did come back. So, I'm just glad that, like, they didn't forget about her, and she did come back in anyways. So, this time, unlike the previous version of it, I redid her white dress and everything, because it was kind of bugging me for a little while. So I finally decided, like, let's go back, make it much nicer and neater and everything. As you can see, though, she's also, this time, rather than wielding a Keyblade, she's got her iconic, like, sketchbook, and it's a drawing of, like, one of her drawings that she did of, like, this is supposed to be, like, Roxas, Axel, and Xion, of, like, one of the drawings that she did from the Haunted Mansion. She's also got, this is supposed to be, like, a crown, but it came out as a paintbrush, but that's okay. I almost thought about the potential of maybe redoing the hairpiece as well. But it turns out the hairpiece was stuck on the body. So I was like, you know what? It's not too big of a deal. I can work with it. Plus, it matches up to the character pretty well, so it's not a huge deal. Similar to Kairi, she's also got, like, fabric skirts over here. That I decided to go ahead and do that, because, again, like, testing out with more skills like that. And this time now, I now painted on, like, her sandals and everything. That's another error, and again, this was just me, like, starting out with Lego and everything, is that the original decals, they were pretty much just, like, blue shoes, more or less, and this time I decided, you know what, let's go back and, like, repaint on the shoe, actually do her sandals properly, and it came out pretty well, pretty well, so, this minifigure was, pretty fast to get done. Like, my huge concern was mainly doing like a new torso and like some new legs and everything. Aside from that, the minifigure is just as you guys remembered it. So this was pretty fun to do. Admittedly though, similar to with Roxas, I was kind of hoping Naminé would get like a new outfit. But even though she doesn't, I'm satisfied with the results, and I hope you guys are too. So let's go on to our next minifigure. So next up on our list is Xion in her KH3 outfit, and I'm really glad that they actually gave her a casual outfit towards the end of the game. Because for a long time, I wanted to give Xion, like, a casual outfit. You know, not like the organization coat she originally had. and it gave me the opportunity to, like, redo the minifigure figure itself. So she's got, like, a new face printing on. The original one, it worked out pretty well, but I realized that it didn't fully, that Xion, in a way, is supposed to be, like, she's supposed to look like Kairi and Naminé, and the original minifigure did not, the original minifigure didn't live up to that. So, like, I reprinted off the original face that I used for, like, both of the girls, and then, like, put it on with Xion, and you know what? This actually looks pretty better. I kept the original hairpiece because I felt that this matched up pretty accurate to how she looks like in the game. Yep, sorry, just readjusting the pedestal. So this actually matches up much more of how the character really looks like. As you can see, she's also rather than wielding a Keyblade, she's got, like, the iconic sea salt ice cream. I almost thought about, like, maybe purchasing an actual, like, ice cream bar and then, like, repainting it and everything. But I was sort of on a time schedule, so I decided, you know what? Let's just make it from scratch. So I took one of the markers that was originally from a Big Bang Theory set. I cut off the marker, and then, like, I added in the ice cream to match up with the iconic sea salt ice cream. And I know Xion does wield the Keyblade, but it is the Kingdom Key, and I didn't have enough time to, like, try to resculpt, to, like, make a clay version of the 2-become-1 Keyblade. So I settled down, like, let's do something iconic that still matches up with Xion. So maybe I'll go back and, like, remake her, like, do her a new Keyblade, but until then, this is the final product. Alright, so, and with her outfits, I had to look at a few pictures a few times, especially since there were very few pictures of Xion in her casual outfits. But once I finally got, like, a solid one, I realized her outfit was very similar to Kairi's, just now, like, in black, and with a white skirt. So, I took the same decals, I copied the same decals that I used for Kairi, repainted the whole thing black, for the outlining details, I went that with gray, and at the end, this was the final result. So, this minifigure came out pretty well, and I'm pretty satisfied with it. It's the skirts, the length didn't come out exactly right, but it does match up to how she looks like on the game. So, I was really glad to get the opportunity to redo this minifigure, and, like, a new outfit and everything. And I hope you guys are satisfied with this one too. Okay then, so let's go on ahead to our next minifigure. So next up on our list is Lee, and I'll be honest, this one was sort of like a last-minute decision. Like, originally, I was just gonna do, like, the other characters and be done with it. But, since I was, like, getting bored and I wanted to, like, customize something, I decided, let's go back and redo Axel for a little bit. So, I pretty much kept the original minifigure that I got from KH Wave 2. I just repainted the face to where he doesn't have those marks anymore. And also repainted the coat a little bit. Went back and, did a bit more detailing onto it. The chain's pretty much the same, only now, the chain laces on there, or the loops, or whatever they're called on hoodies, they've been redone and everything. Oops, sorry, I have to hold the camera in a weird way, because the position for this minifigure is very strange. But I did go back and give him his Keyblade, which I gotta say was a pretty fast and simple one to do out of the other ones. So, since I wanted to get it, done pretty fast, I took one of his original weapons, I modified it a little bit, I then repainted it silver, added in the red detailing, and then, sculpted out the blade, completely made out of clay, and then, glued it on there. I know it's not accurate as to how it is in the game, but none of the other Keyblades look entirely like it, like their original in-game counterparts. So, I wasn't too depressed about that. I almost thought about, maybe doing his new outfits, his new casual outfit that he wears towards the end of the game. But unlike with Xion, I couldn't find any solid pictures of that outfit. I'm pretty sure it's the same design or very similar to Riku, but I could not find a single solid one to give me a full, clear image of that. So, in the long run, I decided, how about we just, repaint his organization outfits, give it a new coat and everything, give his hair start like a fresh coat of red paint, do the Keyblade, and we should be okay. It'll be okay. So again, this was sort of like a last-minute decision, but I'm pretty satisfied with it. I'm pretty satisfied with this Keyblade, and I'm glad that Lee or Axel makes the comeback in KH3. We get to see him like use this Keyblade in action, and I'd say this turned out like pretty well for a short amount of time. Now then, let's move on to our next minifigure. So next up on our list is everybody's favorite duck, and the one character who cannot heal even when you want him to at the last second, Donald Duck. And when doing this minifigure, it was pretty like fast of how to do this. So his torso is completely hand painted, and I decided to go ahead and do that route rather than like make it decal and everything. There's some paintwork on the back, and as you can see, like I tried to build his web feet. Like the current Donald minifigure, it's cool and all, but I kind of wanted the character to like match up a little bit, especially the like height difference. So I I took some studs, and then at the end of them, I took like some iconic Lego pieces, like some of those flat pieces, and then like I made those his flipper, like his web feet. I originally had like some flippers from like an old scuba diving minifigure like years ago, but I only found one flipper. The other one, I have no idea where it is. So, I had to like come up with my own sort of design of it. And of course, like he's got his iconic staff in its original form. I had to look at a few pictures of like some detailing of it, mainly just to like sort of remember how the staff looks like. Once that was done, I almost thought about like to see if like, ooh, do I have a witch hat? And it turns out I do not. I do not have any of those hats. So I had scoped out a hat of my own. Again, it's not exactly like it's on the game, but in a way that was kind of intended to. He's also wearing his hat as well that has some detailing onto it, but not too much of it. The hat was kind of tricky because I wanted to make it like not too big, but also not small. So this was sort of like a height difference to really figure out what to do with that. And the one piece, and his headpiece was one of the pieces I had waited for. So I ordered this off of a website called Firestar Toys. Which, for those of you who don't know, that website, it's a Lego website where they sell parts of minifigures and figures of like every genre, like going from like modern day stuff like Star Wars and Avengers to some like the old classic Legos, like some of the classic Batman sets and some of the classic Star Wars sets, even like some old products like Lego Indiana Jones. And Jones is there. And they even sell like customized pieces, like customized weapons, minifigures, and figures, small sets. That's it. So if you guys want to check that website out, I'll include it in the link description below. The only downside with that website is that their buying system is in pounds because they're located off in the UK. So some of the prices won't fully be accurate to like depending on like what country you're in. So if you do plan on buying some stuff from there, you may need to do a little bit of math, just to make sure like you have enough money for what it is you want to buy. But aside from that, I really recommend you check that website out. It's a pretty good website. And the shipping, the shipping takes about like 10 to 15 days. So I had to wait a while for the headpieces to come in. Like this one and Mickey's heads were the heads that I was waiting for. But once they came in, I quickly put them on their bodies, recustomized everything, and we were good to go. So for being in like a headpiece for Lego, I gotta say they actually captured Donald pretty well. And I almost thought that I'd have to like recustomize his hat piece, but turns out it's removable. So it saved me the time of having to like maybe sand it off or build clay around it. And it's so in the end, this matched up to a good Donald KH minifigure. Hopefully this one will not suck at not healing me when I need it most. Sorry, that's a KH joke. That's a KH joke for those of you who don't know. So anyways, let's move on to our next minifigure. So next up on our list is Goofy. Goofy, our second favorite party member of the series. And this one I started on a I started on before I started working on Donald. And this came out pretty well. It was a bit better than I expected it to be. I completely hand painted on I hand painted on his torso, as you can kind of see with the jacket. I get like detailing and everything. Same thing with the belts, his pants. And the pants didn't really require much. All I really needed to paint was his boots. And I did Sharpie work on like the arms, as you can kind of see of like some of the lines and everything. Small hand paints of like the cuffs on the shoulders and a little detailing on the hands. Not much, but still pretty accurate. You can see my hand painting skills are still learning, especially with his shield. So this was an extra shield that I had for like a Captain America minifigure, but I decided to use this for Goofy, and it came out pretty well. And as you can see, his head is 100%. It's completely customized of my own design, and I was pretty bummed about that. I was honestly hoping that LEGO would make like a Goofy minifigure, but they did not do that. They didn't do that, so I was like, okay, I'm going to take the LEGO Arts route and just sculpt this. Sculpt the head. So I used one of my spare like Buzz Lightyear headpieces that I got from a pack. I sanded it off a little bit, and then I added in like the mouth and everything. You could kind of see the teeth didn't fully come out well. His eyes I had to repaint a few times because they always looked weird. But once that was done, this came out pretty well. Hang on. Let's see if we can like bend this down a little bit so you can see a little bit more. Here we go. His hat is 100%, like made of clay. Aside from the bottom is like a stud piece that I glued on there. I then also like did the base color of like the yellow. I then went back, hand painted on like the goggles he has on there. And once that was all done, this came out pretty good. And if you're wondering like with his legs, like what's with his feet? If you guys recall of like Bendy and the Ink Machine of like when I do Boris, I added those in to like give it of that height to like represent that Boris is pretty tall. And I didn't want to give Goofy like those long like Toy Story legs. Those parts are very hard to find. So I use those like only when necessary, really. But with this new technique, it matches up with like Goofy's height pretty well. And since Goofy and Boris are pretty much a lot alike, I decided let's do the same thing that I did with the wolf. And this came out pretty well. I kind of wish that the teeth came out a little bit better, but in general, not a bad job for like a first try of sculpting on a Disney headpiece. So I'm kind of satisfied with this, and I hope you guys are satisfied with this minifigure too. So hopefully one of these days Disney will actually, well, not just Disney, but LEGO will actually make a Goofy minifigure. We can only hope for the future. So let's go on and head to our last minifigure. And last but not least, and it is the world's most popular mouse, Disney's very mascot, Mickey Mouse. Mouse in his KH3 outfit. Mickey was another minifigure I thought about like customizing for a long time, but I never got enough motivation to do it until after KH3, and I decided, you know what, I put this off long enough, let's go ahead and do it. So, as you can see with this minifigure, his entire outfit is hand painted. I don't know how well you guys can see it, like via camera. Hang on. Let me see if I can rotate my light a little bit. Okay, over here. Sorry if his head is blinding, but I need to get a better angle for you guys can see, like some of the printing. As you can see, there's detailing work on the front. A little bit of Sharpie work, but not too much. And if you're wondering that, why is his outfit like dark gray and everything, it originally was not supposed to be. This is like dark gray mixed with black, because the way how his outfit is designed, it's just like it's like two different blacks. So I tried to go ahead with that route of like adding in a little dark gray with some black and come out well, and then like just a regular black to blend it in. But the black sort of blended in, and it didn't come out correct. So I had to come in with a completely different acrylic black to like paint up the arms and everything. Once that was done, this minifigure looked much more like how it does on the game. As you can see, he's got like his keychain over here, his iconic logo and everything. There's a little flannel work, but it's not but it's not as good as the Riku one, because, again, I hand-painted this. His shoes were pretty easy to do. Like with Donald, the original Mickey Mouse minifigure, it looks cool, but I wanted the character to match up more of the heights sort of thing. So with the same legs that I used for Cuphead and Bendy, I chose these legs, and it turned out pretty well. Very well in general. Like with Donald's headpiece, this one was another headpiece that I ordered in. I ordered them both at the same time, so they came in at the same time, which was a smart thing to do. As you can see, like, he's also got this hood, and his hood with his iconic ears and everything. Like with Kairi's hood piece, though, as well as Sora's, they're glued on, but that's alright, because there's not really any detailing on the back. The hardest thing was the Keyblade. I had to look at a bunch of photos to get this blade to match up. Like, turn it over here. As you guys can see, it's a cosmic pattern. It's a very, like, starry pattern. We don't know the full name for this one, so this one I just call this Keyblade the Cosmic Kingdom. That's like the name that I'm going with this for now. If there is an actual name for it, I haven't found it yet, but if there is one, I'll rename it. But for now, this one is called the Cosmic Kingdom. And when doing this Keyblade, it was a lot harder to do than some of the other ones. Not necessarily of sculpting wise, because I pretty much made this. It is like in the same form, like in the same detailing as the Kingdom Key, but detailing wise, it was a pain. Because I had to look at a bunch of photos to get all sides of the Keyblade, especially the blade edge, like the blade of like all those patterns, like the moons and the stars. Once I was done with that, I then had to make sure that the whole thing was together. I think I had to glue like the handle like a few times just to ensure that everything stayed on together and nothing would break off. But once everything was all done, everything was complete. This came out pretty well. So not bad for the first try. But there could be some room for improvements, which is pretty much what this channel is about. We try our best, and there will always be room for improvements. So I'm kind of glad that I got the chance to do, like, Mickey Mouse. This wasn't, like, one of the huge things that I wanted to do, but I wanted to try, like, some new stuff. I wanted to forge a new Keyblade, and this was the final result. So let's go ahead and wrap this video up and begin talking about what's in store next for the channel. Well, that does it for this episode of LEGO Arts, the 50th special. We've come a long way, ever since from, like, the first episode, as I said a couple of years ago, to where we are currently. Now, this does not mean I'm ending LEGO Arts here. Sure, you're kidding me? Nope. This series is gonna stay on the channel forever. And I'm coming up with new ideas for, like, some new showcases for the future. And I really felt that this one, it was a pretty big showcase, you know? Of, like, one of the big things about this one is that it sort of showed off some of the skills that I've learned over the course of the previous showcases that I've done, from, like, showing of, like, decal work, detailing, fabrics, sculpting, and adding in some new features of, like, some new skills that I've gotten from other minifigures, and trying out some new techniques for this showcase. So I was really glad to get the opportunity to do this showcase, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you're wondering, like, do I plan to do more Kingdom Hearts minifigures? Potentially, especially that now that there's a new arc in the story for next in the Kingdom Hearts saga. People are calling it the Lost Masters saga, which I think is going to be centering around, like, the Foretellers and Sora's new adventures, and maybe introducing, like, new characters, like new Keyblade wielders, a new race with the team, potentially new Disney worlds, and the whole nine yards. So I can't wait to see of what sort of path that will go on. And if you guys want to see, like, some of the other Kingdom Hearts showcases that I've done, like some of the earlier waves, like Organization 13, Xehanort, Final Boss Xion, Hooded Roxas, you can check all of those showcases out in my LEGO Arts playlist. And if you guys want to see, like, my LEGO KH3 Let's Plays, you can check it out on the channel as well. And I'm now going to be beginning a new Let's Play series on that. So we're going to be replaying the game, only this time in Proud Mode. mode, and I plan to do critical mode in live streams when they get released, and when the DLC gets released to the public. So be sure to keep your eyes and ears peeled, for those sort of things. So the next episode of LEGO Arts, it won't be a showcase, but it will be something that's connected to the other showcases. So be sure to keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. So, if you guys want to see more videos like this in the future, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications. It really, really helps us work on Let's Plays, LEGO projects, and we're mainly here to have some fun. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this 50th special. If you liked it, hit that like button, comment below what you think, share this with your friends, subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Twitch, and here's a Harvard Road. Ow! Thank you guys, we'll see you next time. What a nice moon rises!